Bang bang to the gang. P Warrior underscore Niner coming in representing tonight for being good, representing for prayers. Uncle Key, we gonna try to have him come on the show here shortly, but uh, this is the Faithful Boys podcast. It's another opportunity to come on and talk about these last 3 weeks. You know, the team been struggling the last 3 weeks. They've been uh, on a losing streak that as faithfuls we ain't been pleased with, and there's some issues that have certainly came up and haven't allowed us to perform our best. So tonight we'll chime in and get some feedback and uh, some perspective on that. As always, we hope that you'll like, subscribe, and share the channel. And so we're gonna hit on a variety of topics tonight. Obviously, the 3-game losing streak, the struggles of the defense, Steve Wilks, Purdy with the interceptions, and some inconsistencies in his game, and then the addition of Chase Young at the trade deadline on Tuesday. What type of impact will that have on the team going forward after they come off of the bye? So I think the first thing that we should talk about is the 3-game losing streak. Obviously, they went on the road to Cleveland and they struggled in that game. You got to give Cleveland they do. Defense was off top. Defense is really good. Myles Garrett is really good. We still had a chance to really win the game, even at the end. But we didn't have the consistency in the kicking game to get it done. Really, we should have won the game. We jumped on them early, but we couldn't execute and get the points in the red zone that was needed in order for that to happen. And yet we still had a chance to win the game. Obviously, the Minnesota game, they couldn't stop Kirk Cousins, get no pressure, missed tackles, the wide receiver for Minnesota, catching that pass before the halftime when they went to the zero blitz definitely killed any chance of us having a lead or even trying to come back in the game. And yet we still had an opportunity to win the game there, outside of Brock Purdy's interceptions. And in this last game, obviously, against Cincinnati, Joe Burrow and those receivers are excellent. They attack the weakness of our secondary right now, which is the slot cornerback position, in particular Oliver. And they exposed that. And then we just couldn't generate the consistent pressure against Burrow to get him off the field on third down. I think he was like 19 or 17 or 19 at one point. He had a long completion streak in that game. And obviously, Brock throwing an interception when they were going in to tie the game at 24 didn't help the situation. And so it's been a myriad of things, faithfuls that the team have struggled with. And as fans, we've become frustrated and aggravated about that. And we hope that the bye week will be a time where they can rest up, get refreshed and renewed. And as Kyle says, look within to find the answers to the problems that the team is having. So, I just believe it's really important that while they're on the bye, they get the chance to really reflect and really do what they need to do to ultimately get back on track, get back on this winning streak. So we're going to start talking about certain aspects of the team that need to address to get this thing back on track. So let's start off with the defense, because that's really the major thing, that the defense has really been struggling. And really, from my vantage point, the game that I think that they played the best defensively was obviously against the Cowboys. That's the way that we expect the defense to play. That's the way we expect them to fly around and tackle and hit and get the pressure and get the turnovers, that's our defense at its best. And even then, they could have played better just in terms of maybe getting sacks. But that's really the only game where we could truly say all year in these first 8 that they consistently played defense for 60 minutes. And it's going to take 60 minutes of playing sound defensive football in order for us to be where we want to be at the end of this thing, which is hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And I think the main issue that the defense has had is that they haven't had the consistent rush and consistent pressure, and it's exposed our secondary. And then there's been times where the secondary has covered, but they can only cover so long because the defensive line hasn't gotten the pressure. So it's been inconsistent play. It's been maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't say a lack of focus, just maybe a lack of execution at times, but that the defense that we've seen the last 3 or 4 years hasn't been out there every Sunday. And many people are calling for Steve Wilks to be fired or to come out of the booth and come down to the sidelines. What adjustments can he make? You know, does he need to simplify the scheme more, stop blitzing more, or playing man-to-man in certain situations and zone in certain situations? I think I had said it in our group chat for the Faithful Boys. Steve Wilks can only call the plays. He can't go out there and tackle. He can't go out there and get a sack. He can't go out there and get a pick. Now, at the same time, somebody would say, well, no, he can't do that, but he could make the right calls at the right time. So I think it's a combination of maybe him not calling the right calls at the right time, and then the defense or the players not executing the assigned call at that time. And then offenses are exposing our weakness in attacking that slot corners, attacking the secondary really on all 3 levels. So, or at each position. So it's been a struggle defensively. It's not what we are accustomed to as fans. And so we're looking for changes coming out of the bye week, and they better find them quick because they're facing Jacksonville on the road, and Jacksonville has an excellent football team, good quarterback, good receivers, good running game, solid offensive line. So we need to find answers ASAP. We need to simplify the scheme, tweak the scheme, but then I think it's just a mindset of the players. I think the players have to have this mindset that we got too much talent. We know the scheme. We know what's being asked of us. We have to go out there and make those plays. So I think it's a combination of, I don't know if Steve Wilks needs to come out of the booth. I don't know if he needs to be on the sidelines, but whatever the case may be, like I said, he can make the calls, but he can't go out there and make the plays. You know, he should be able to call any defense and those guys make the plays. So I think it's a combination of the players. It's also a combination of the coaching that can get this thing turned around. Let's look at the offense. I think offensively, teams have gone to that 6-man defensive line to take away the run. They've been successful. Our offensive line is not playing to the level that it played at last year after we got McCaffrey. And then teams know he's going to be the main focal point running the ball, so they're attacking that and taking that away. And not saying that Brock hasn't made plays, not saying that Brock hasn't produced. He's made plays. He's been accurate. He's made some interceptions at the wrong time, which has cost us, you know, in some critical situations. And then you could say on some level, maybe growing pains. He's going to struggle. We couldn't have expected him to totally be, you know, perfect and not lose a game. We know that eventually it was going to happen. I still believe that Brock is who we need at the quarterback position. He's going to ultimately lead us where we need to go. But we know we need that running game. We need our offensive line to step up and step forward. Now, losing Banks for a couple of weeks, that's going to hurt, but we hope that the guard that they picked up from the Giants will be able to fill that gap for a few games. Hopefully, Trent Williams will be back at left tackle and solidify that side. And then we need Burford to step up. To me, I believe he is the missing piece in terms of consistency of play. to get this thing turned around. We need him to step forward. I think McKivitz at right tackle. He's been solid, not spectacular, but solid. And we don't need him to be spectacular. We need him to be solid and consistent. I think he has been consistent for the most part. Brindle, I don't think has played as well as he did last year. So I just think if our offensive line can get back to form and be more consistent, then I think everything else will fall into place. I think in terms of what Kyle is doing out there, I think he's calling the right plays at the right time. Now, my personal opinion, I think they need to give. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm drawing a name on the running back, Mason. That's it, Mason. They need to give Mason more carries and let him be the physical running back and take less of the wear and tear off of McCaffrey. And Elijah Mitchell, I think they just trying to use him as much as they need to. I think they want to use him more, but they're so afraid that he's going to get hurt. They really don't want to put him out there. And that's unfortunate because we know, prior to all of the injuries, he really was a force, had the speed, physicality, all the things we look for in a running back. But I think you can still use him out there. But I would really like to see Mason get more run as opposed to, if you're not going to use Elijah Mitchell, then use Mason and then let McCaffrey be more of your receiving threat, get another option at the receiver position to go along with Kittle and to go along with Brandon Ayuk, to go along with Debo when he comes back, to go along with Jawan and Juszczyk. I think we have enough weapons offensively to put up the points that we need to put up. It's just consistent play from the O-line, getting back to running the ball, and then executing and making the plays from Purdy, and I think we'll be fine offensively. Really, in my personal opinion, I haven't really never been worried about the offense. I don't know. I just was always concerned about the defense because I was looking at it as, okay, we got this new defensive coordinator. Yeah, he has experience in years of being a defensive coordinator, but you're asking him to learn the scheme that's already in place and then add some of his flavor to it. And it's been a transition period in a lot of ways, but there can't be any more transition because it's the second half of the season. We're getting ready to play the Jacksonvilles and the Seattles and the Philadelphias and some of these other teams, and we need to be playing our best. And we need to be hitting our stride now. And so defensively, it's time for these boys to wake up, look within, as Kyle says, self-reflect, whatever the case is, and let's get after it. So, faithfuls, I would say, with the addition of Chase Young, I think it's possible. I think he gives them the threat that they've needed on that other side of Bosa, because we know Bosa's getting doubled and triple teamed. But to me, Javon Hargrave and Armstead have to come to the party. They paid Javon Hargrave the money. I think he's still going to produce and make plays. I'm believing and I'm hoping that having Chase Young on the other side, and now where you can't double team Bosa, it could be more one-on-ones. And then I think, as even Richard Sherman said, simplify the scheme. A lot of the twists and the stunts and the games they've been running haven't been working. Let's just go mano a mano, best on best. I'm better than you. Let me see if I can whip you at the line of scrimmage and get home. And so maybe they need to go back to that style. So, the first 5 games, everything was looking good. They're scoring 30 points a game, defense holding down, but in these last 3 games, we've seen some vulnerabilities. We've seen a few cracks. We've seen some things that teams have taken advantage of. And obviously they are working to correct it. Obviously they're working to make it better. So, as a fan, like I said, it's the expectation is Super Bowl or bust. They've made the trades the last 2 years to get Christian McCaffrey and to get Chase Young. I believe they were trying to get a cornerback, but that was unsuccessful. But they do have some in-house candidates. Samuel Womack, I think, might be the long-term answer at the nickel corner. He's quick enough and he's physical enough to handle that inside. Oliver has the size, but he doesn't have the quickness and the coverage ability. He's a better tackler than he is a cover man. I think Womack will be the guy to kick inside, let Demo stay outside, or if you feel confident that Womack can play outside, put him outside. But I think he would be the guy I would put in at that slot corner, and you know, let him take that place for Oliver. I think you can still use Oliver, but not just on a consistent every down basis. We just seen where he have just gotten torched out there in a way. And then we need our safety to step up. We need Talanoa Hufanga to start bringing that wood to people. It's been a minute since we've seen him KO somebody out there. And I think Gibson have been solid, in terms of the coverage. He's gotten some picks, but we need Talanoa. Talanoa is like that X factor back there that last year really took our secondary up. And then, Travarius, you got some picks, but then, with the holding and the grabbing and this and that or whatever. And I know it's not easy playing corner, but it's like when you struggle, you in your head and you just totally off, and it takes you having to get torched to the point to where you just figure it out and then come back. And then once you come back, you're good. So we need the good Charvarius Ward out there. We need Demo. I think Demo been solid all year. I don't really worry about him. I worry about Oliver and Charvarius Ward in a lot of cases. I think a lot of it is confidence too. That they haven't been playing with the confidence that they started off with, and they're being challenged out there. So I think, as Kyle said in the interview this week before they went on a bye, it's a in-house confidence, look inward thing. What can I do to up my play and my level? Because there's got to be another level that these guys raise to. And we know when we're at our best. We saw it last year when they got McCaffrey, they took off. And if Brock don't get hurt, we might have a different narrative and a different story about the outcome of the season. But we know what this team is capable of, and we know what is possible if they're firing on all cylinders. And they still have time to get to that level. They still have time to make it work. So if we want to look at the specific positions, I think Ayuk has become a star, and he's the number one receiver. Jennings has been consistent when he's gotten his opportunities. We know Kittle, maybe until the last two games, really wasn't a factor in terms of the passing game, but now he's broken out. And I think they need to feed him more. We have to just get the ball to all of our weapons out there. So, and it would be nice to maybe use check as maybe in the screen game and the passing game too. I think that's adjustments that Kyle can make, and maybe tweak some things to try to, get more explosives. Because we don't really have that burner where they talking about Gray, but Gray ain't never been out there. And maybe that's something they got to address in the draft after this is over, getting that receiver who has the side and the speed, where it's just not he's in there for one specific thing, but that he can really be a true receiver. It'd be nice if we got more production from the tight end, but Kyle's still running with Charlie Warner and the other guy, and we haven't seen, the rookie tight ends. One is on injury reserve, and the other one I think is playing special teams. So they got to go with what they have there. Running back, we know McCaffrey is a stud. 17 straight games with a touchdown. Probably going to break the record when he comes off of the bye against Jacksonville. We know what he is in a passing game. We know what he is in a running game. But, man, I wish they would come and give Mason more run. And they got him playing a lot of special teams. But to me, you need to let him get more run, I think, to get the tough yards. When teams is trying to take away that stretch zone or that outside toss play that they run, Mason can get the tough yards inside, and then you can use McCaffrey as that receiving threat out of the backfield. And then, to me, this is just my opinion, faithfuls, Kyle should be running 3 running backs right now. It should be McCaffrey, Mason, and Mitchell. You let Mason be your thumper. You let McCaffrey be your running back in terms of the screen game, the passing game, and then you sprinkle Elijah Mitchell in and let him get some carries. You try to keep him as healthy and fresh as possible, but you got to give McCaffrey a blow and give him a break, because we're going to need him in crunch time and the critical times to be the everything running back Kyle wants him to be out there. And then we can always sprinkle Debo in and Ray in on some of them sweet plays and run plays that they run. But then we need Debo to come back with his mind focused and mind right, and none of this social media foolishness going back and forth with people out there. So, what's that, Uncle Keith?
Hey, what's going on, partner? I just got this new phone.
Okay.
Looks like it's working.
Yeah, oh yeah, you loud and clear. You loud and clear.
Man,
Well, this was kind of going over some things that I thought that I saw from the 3-game losing streak and then the trade and kind of overall observation. So
I
I'm
was
hoping,
watching.
huh?
I watched most of it. Yeah,
Okay.
you're on
So
point.
all right, well, come on, you chime in on what you think, and then we'll just kind of break it down position by position. We'll kind of get our thoughts on Chase Young, maybe, the cornerback situation. I'm sure they tried to get a corner. They couldn't at the trade deadline, but they got Womack and Luda, and well, I don't know about Amber Thomas, but come on, give us your observations and your thoughts, and then we'll just run it from there and just, you know,
Well, the first thing is the bye exposes lies.
true.
Folks coming off of injury, our cornerbacks, our receivers,
Mm,
Debo. But I think the most significant thing is picking up that other outside rush from the other side
yeah,
for more pressure because our secondary was never going to be the best.
right.
What made us good last year was our defensive line was so aggressive and got in there so quick, it allowed them to make mistakes that didn't cost us games.
Hmm.
Now they don't have that kind of freedom.
Right,
Secondary thing is bringing Wilkes out of the box and putting him on the field is a genius move if he pulls it off. You got to get in the trenches because you ain't hearing nothing but yourself up in that box.
right.
You got to coach in the trenches. You got an emotional defensive team.
Mhm.
You got to know what these guys are thinking and saying. You can
Right.
see how they playing,
Mhm.
but you got to be in the trenches. Shanahan is not the rah-rah guy. Never going to be. But our defensive coordinator last year, what was he? Where was he at?
Oh, he was on the field.
Damn near in the play.
Hmm.
And as he went, they went.
Hmm.
And when you take that away from them, our defense looked passive. They couldn't even tackle a math problem, let alone a player.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Hmm.
Other thing is, and I heard you talking about the running backs. As the run goes, our passing game goes.
Hmm.
And for the life of me, why we don't have Mason in there is beyond crazy. Every time he's gotten 3 to 5 runs in a 10-minute period in game, he busts something loose. He is that bruiser that our offensive line needs so they can buy some time. If you've got no run threat other than McCaffrey, which you can scheme against, then what are we going to do? We're going to get Purdy knocked upside the head. You're going to get that right side of offensive line exposed every time. Trent Williams ain't coming back, what, 2 more weeks?
Well, I think they said he was gonna be back after the bye because he been out
Okay.
prior to the bye. So hopefully he should be
Yeah.
100% coming off the bye. They're gonna need him against Jacksonville because they got Josh Allen on that line. So
And
we definitely.
you're gonna need somebody that can punish that line and keep them from cheating on our receivers and
Hmm.
take them. I mean, didn't Mason run one in from 26 yards out without being touched
Yeah.
once he
Well.
broke the line?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. To me, before you came on, that's what I'm saying. To me, y'all need to go with 3 running backs. You need to go with McCaffrey. You need to
Happening.
Mason, and you go with Mitchell. You need
Yeah,
to let Mason be your physical running back to get the hard yards inside. These teams is taking your outside zone and that toss play away. That's what you
absolutely.
they taking that away. Well, you need somebody to get up in there who can get the hard yards, and then that'll soften them up for Mitchell if they want to use him or McCaffrey. To me, y'all need McCaffrey in a passing game to be another weapon for Brock Purdy out there to be a safety valve. You can use the screens and these types of things with
He
him.
needs to be more Debo like.
Yeah. And
To
yeah,
be honest with you. And I'm gonna tell
true.
you something else too. Don't you ever send Brock Purdy on a quarterback sneak again as your
Yeah.
QB1 with no backup.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the dumbest things you could have done with a guy like Mason sitting on the bench waiting for
Yeah,
the kickoff.
exactly.
What were you thinking on a
Well,
second down play?
case in point, against Cincinnati, when they went for it on
Yes.
the fourth down, why would you run use check, run Mason? What I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm saying to myself, Kyle, you giving them 7 points because you run him, you try to run the full, you put him on the center, try to run him in there, and then they stuffed it. At least give Mason a chance to get the whole yards that you can't get. Check ain't built for that.
Last year, preseason, the
So
strongest reason for keeping Mason on that team was yards after contact and yards with men on your back.
right,
You said can't do it. Mason can carry two people. And if
exactly.
you need 6 inches, Mason is good for 18,
Okay.
which is what was the difference between that play being successful and not being successful. Also, Mason can run over you. He will not get stood up chest to chest.
Right.
He's a beast. So why are we not using our best at? Why are we taking our sharp weapons to chop wood? We need to take an axe, not a sword.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
agree.
a different. It's a philosophical difference in how you coach and play football.
Mhm.
You got a bruiser that you don't trust because he's not like what you know.
Right.
When's the last time we had a bruising running back like Mason?
Yeah, it's been a while.
And when we did, we were successful
Hmm.
because if Shanahan's always known for a run first offense, right?
Yeah.
Now, now we're an RPO offense, run pass option, run pass option. You don't make an extraordinary play, you get nothing. You get it all or nothing. We cannot ground and pound anymore. And you certainly don't want to do that with McCaffrey because you're already worried about usage as it is.
Exactly. And that's
So
why I
why
say,
not put a guy in there that on sheer will made the team? Let him get beat up. What does it cost you to have Mason beat their defensive lineup?
all right, yeah.
And if you bring Mitchell in, he'll bust one for 40 yards too after Mason softened him up.
Yeah,
And then
well,
McCaffrey did that RPO yards after catch Debo into the end zone. And when Debo comes back, they got 4 threats. But you
yeah.
got to get your licks in. We're playing finesse football, offense and defense. It
Yeah,
was a good look. We
I
read
agree.
our own clippings. We read it. We believed our own hype for the first 5 games, and we started playing finesse football. Bo ain't had a sack in how long?
It's been a while.
They've
Definitely.
had 41 quarterback pressures
Uh-huh.
and no sacks.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, like I said, offensively, and I kind of touched on it with the line. Burford got to come to the party. You
Yeah,
play as a rookie, and they spotted you with the other guy who went on to the other team. I'm forgetting his name, but
yeah.
come on, you've been a full time starter. You got the, you not
You
holding up.
can't be following the defensive lineman to your quarterback.
Yeah,
You can't be looking at the back of his number.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
40, yeah, and then like I said, I don't think McKivitz have played bad. I think he's been solid. We don't need you to be spectacular. We just need you to be solid and consistent. I think you have. I think he has. Obviously losing Banks a couple of games, that's gonna hurt him because Banks been playing good for most of the year.
He
And then
anchors that line.
yeah, and then hopefully we get Trent Williams back. That'll help things out. But man, come on. To
Yeah,
me, y'all.
Banks and Williams anchor both sides of the line. All
Mm-hmm.
right, these guys play off of them, and they can coach on the field.
All right.
I've seen Banks push Burford. If you watch the tapes,
Mm-hmm.
and what's crazy is they make you question your quarterback after that. But if he's under the gun
Yeah.
all the time, he's gonna fly some passes. He
Right.
don't have the same receivers he had.
Mm-hmm.
He don't have that Debo outlet. And if you don't think, and Prez hates to say this, but he's been
Yeah.
saying that the offense runs through Debo's either as a decoy or a
Mm-hmm.
destination. He's
Yeah.
right. McCaffrey might be the starter team,
Yeah.
but the spark plug is Debo.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. I think they've missed him being out there as another threat, as a way to get the defense to shift and be in, out of position, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's put more pressure on McCaffrey and on uh, Ayuk, and I do like the fact that Kittle has reemerged, and I
He had
think they
no
got
choice.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think they got to keep continuing to make him that option in the passing game. We know what he is in a run game. He gonna block, even help him with the line. But we got to get him out in the patterns to be another threat out there. You know what I'm saying? In addition to what we already have. And that's what I'm saying, Kyle, you got to start maximizing what you have. You got Mason who can be that physical pounder inside and help the line, like you say, Uncle Keith. Then you have McCaffrey who we can use as the runner, but he's even better as a receiver. And I know y'all
RPO.
yeah, and I know y'all trying to not run Mitchell because y'all so scared he gonna get hurt. So I understand Mitchell, but if he's healthy enough to give you some carries, you got to let him get out there too. It's time for us to maximize all of the weapons that we have because we got the team that can get to a Super Bowl and win it. And it's Shanahan. You got to put these boys in position and give them a chance. Mason is to me. You know what I'm saying?
He has
To,
never turned down an assignment.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on, man, give him some run in there.
He's taken some great hits. Now, is his blocking game the best? Doesn't have to be if he's making them pay.
Right.
If he's
And we'll
making them pay, they
right.
won't jump our line so fast trying to get to our quarterback. They worry about him busting 30 up the middle,
Exactly.
and he can do it. Once he gets past that first 3 steps, he's hard as a freight truck to bring down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the other thing. As we look for Debo to set things up for McCaffrey,
Yeah.
for Kittle, for Ayuk, Mason can do the same thing in the absence of Debo.
True.
What's he averaging per carry?
Got to be over 4 yards.
4.4 yards a carry.
That's what I thought.
2 carries and a cloud of dust, and you at 3rd and 1. Right or wrong, man?
Yeah, well,
That's
that's
a
what I'm
whole different ball game, ain't it?
right. That's what I'm saying.
And then if your third down is an RPO, it can be a screen.
Mm-hmm.
And your offensive line doesn't have to hold that long. Our whole offense and defensive challenges right now is all about timing, not talent, timing.
Yeah.
Not enough time for the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough time for the receivers to run their routes.
Right.
Not enough time too much time for our secondary to hold the receivers, speedy receivers, over the top receivers, because our defensive line is taking too much time to get to the quarterback. Time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about, as my nephew Mark would say, execution.
Yeah. I agree
Put
with
your
that.
defensive coordinator on the sideline. I never, ever liked anybody other than maybe an assistant offensive coordinator in the box
Right.
to see something you can't see. But the game's played on the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All the great coaches coach from where?
On the
The
sideline.
field. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need a change in attitude,
Mm-hmm.
but we have the talent. That's the saddest thing. We got the talent.
Yeah, it's not the lack of talent. It's not for lack of talent, I should say. It's that, yeah, they maybe have hit a wall and they just haven't been consistent. Because, well, let me ask you this, Uncle Keith. What you think adjustments outside of him coming to the sideline they need to make in terms of the scheme? Do they need to simplify it? Do they need to, I guess, what he was trying to incorporate, just not incorporate that and just purely play the scheme as it's been played prior to him coming there? We know
Yes.
that we know the players gotta step up and make the plays that they need to make. Because as I said, I think in the text when we was texting, watching the game, I said, well, I say, all he can do is make the calls. He can't go out there and tackle. He
Yeah.
should be called whatever defense he feel would be would be right for that moment, and they make the plays. But at the same
Well,
time, if he call a wrong play and they get burned, then we're gonna be looking at him like, okay, you called the wrong play. Case in point, Minnesota, you went with a zero blitz for 16 seconds and you got burned.
now, not only did you got burned on a player trying to make a great defensive play with no
True.
over the top coverage. Okay. I don't blame the player for that play.
Yeah,
That was 100% scheme. There was
exactly.
no over the top. With 16 seconds,
Yeah.
nobody over the top playing catcher,
All right.
outfielder. Come
Yeah.
on, man. That's just basic football.
True.
And the secondary part of it is we got to quit coaching for superstar plays on every down.
All right.
You got to get back to the basics.
Yeah.
Now, Bosa's a superior player. God bless him. But he
Uh-huh.
still has to play in a basic scheme.
Right.
But if you ask him to be superior on every single play, you
Mm-hmm.
can scheme against that offensively on the other side of the ball,
Right.
which is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 41 quarterback hurries and no contact.
Yeah.
That, that's all. That's all about the scheme at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We have the talent. We need that not just execute, but be in a position to execute.
Yeah.
If we make one mistake on any play, we're burned.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many times in the last two games have our opponents been successful on third and long?
Yeah, because they couldn't get no pressure. One.
Couldn't get any pressure on Minnesota.
Yeah, and they couldn't get no
Couldn't get
pressure.
any pressure on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And the average yards to go is 7.7 yards. And they were getting it. Minnesota got it 9 out of 12 times. I mean, 10 out of 12 times.
Cincinnati got it a bunch too. So
I
yeah.
mean, we're giving up third and long plays at like an 85% clip. How do you
Mm.
win? Yeah, we were in position to win all those games, which shows you just how much talent we have.
Exactly.
We're the quarterback that threw 2 interceptions on 2 consecutive passes.
Mm-hmm.
The one game we shouldn't have lost because the kicker missed the damn kick,
Yeah.
but I
Mm-hmm.
don't blame him for that either
Yeah.
because it happens.
Yeah, it does.
When you have this much talent, there's no excuse
Mm-hmm.
to be under coached or overcoached.
Yeah.
If you got this much breakaway talent and recovered, for example, guys that are fast like Hufunga. Hufunga is playing like a rookie.
Yeah, I had said that. I said I ain't seen Hufunga bring the wood to somebody in a long time.
And the reason for that, he's being asked to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
He's chasing the play instead of playing his lane.
Mm-hmm.
In life, sometimes you just got to stay in your lane to get to your destination.
True that.
All right. Now, if you're trying to drive north and south, guess where you end up? Right where
Okay.
you started.
All right.
I'm telling you, end up right where you started.
Mm-hmm.
And Ilfunga's, how many times do you see him be the last player in on a play in the last couple of weeks? I made it my personal business to watch him play defense majority of that last game.
Mm-hmm.
His anticipation was not there. He was always following the play.
Mm-hmm.
And if the play ever came to him, he was almost running past it because you can tell by the times he's trying to arm tackle.
Yeah, I know.
He ain't bodying nobody like he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Hufanga was getting into people's bodies, and that's what our defense needs.
Yeah, I would
I,
agree.
I think I texted y'all last week during the game. They
Uh,
couldn't tackle a math problem.
and oh, you could clearly see it. Missing tackles, not running to the ball. That's the thing that's been driving me is because, come on, man, it's like y'all loafing out there. Y'all going half speed running to the ball. It's like, come on, this ain't the defense I know. When that ball, wherever it go, I see 11 dudes flying with, like you said, evil intentions.
With no
Trying to,
direction.
yeah, and the last couple of weeks, especially like in a Minnesota game and in this one, it's like, man, y'all running half speed to the ball. Y'all missing tackles and the dude
How
still
do you
gaining
how do you not hear the whistle blow and
uh,
stop playing in the
yeah,
NFL?
I don't know.
I'd have fired a coach for that.
Yeah, it just was it just wasn't
Seriously,
too.
I would if I was a head coach. The
Mm-hmm.
conversation I would have with that coordinator after that play would have been so visceral that everybody, even if I wasn't talking to him, would have known what I was saying.
Right.
Straight up. You just don't do that. You don't quit on a play.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
don't do that. This is the 49ers, man. I've never seen that ever with them.
and I know it was disturbing to me too. That's why I was like, man,
I had
this
to
ain't.
get another pair of glasses because I threw my glasses at the TV.
I
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
And you know
I
I can't see without them.
Yeah, me too. I know. So All right, let's talk Chase Young. What impact is he gonna have? Do they start him from jump? Uh,
Yes,
okay.
I'll tell you why you start him from jump. He's
Mm-hmm.
in he's in season form already,
Yeah.
and if you start him from jump, it'll do something for your coordinator. He'll have to simplify the defense, and
Mm-hmm.
when you see that, the whole team will play better. I'm gonna be honest with you. Getting beat on that play, the
Yeah.
defense lost confidence in your coordinator. He's got to dummy it down. Bring your butt down to the field. Let's
Mm-hmm.
play some basic hard nose, stay in your lane, make your play defense.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, then your defensive line has confidence in that secondary line and will make that hard charge for the quarterback and catch that running back in the back and make those solid hits. Right now, everybody's trying to be a hero to make sure nothing gets missed.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have confidence in your teammates, because they're getting burned, how many we've given them what 17 third down plays in 2 games?
Yeah, it's been a lot.
That's
Definitely.
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You got to dummy it down.
Yeah.
You know when you need a complicated defensive scheme when you don't have talent
Yeah.
because it covers mistakes. If you put it too complicated with a team with great players like this, you create mistakes,
Yeah. I would
which
agree
I
with.
think is what's happening with Wilkes right now.
Hmm.
He's
Yeah, and
trying to overthink something or fix something that wasn't broke.
yeah, and that's what I was saying. I think that they brought him in to learn the scheme and add some of his flavor to it, but I
Right.
think they just remove what you want to do, your part of whatever little things you want to add to it, and just go straight back to what they were doing prior to you coming. And that ain't a knock on you, but as the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's
Look,
working.
we're 25th against the run before the last game.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Hmm.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's a new phone, man. Everything about quick story. I had to get a new phone because my app stopped working on my old phone, and then I realized my phone was almost 6 years old.
Oh wow.
I had a
Yeah.
Note 8, man,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Most
but it did
people.
everything I wanted to do, so I never bothered, and it was paid for, so I never fooled with it.
Exactly.
So now I got one of these S23 Ultras. It ought to be good for another 5 years. We ought to be good to go.
That'll work. That'll work.
That'll work. Let's talk about
Hmm.
why we didn't get a cornerback.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about why that didn't happen.
I would say I think they tried. Everybody was talking about Jalen Johnson and some of these guys that was out there, type of thing. I think Lynch tried. They probably tried to bring somebody in that they thought could help. But I think, to me, this is my opinion. I think when Womack come back, why don't we put him inside, keep Diamador outside? I think Womack can handle it inside. He's physical enough to tackle, and he's quick enough because you need quickness in
Cover.
that. Isaiah Oliver is big and he can tackle, but he ain't good in coverage. We know he ain't
No.
good in coverage. We need somebody that's going to be quick enough inside, but at the same time still bring the physicality to be able to tackle. And I think Womack could be that guy. Or if y'all don't think he can handle that traffic inside, then put Demo in there because we know what Demo was when he was in there. He really helped the defense and took it to another level when he's put him in there. And
He should have stayed in there. I
yeah,
totally agree.
put Womack outside and take your chance. But then we need Ward to step up, man, with all this grabbing and getting called for these flags. Come on, they're paying you $15 million. Not to hold and grab, but to be the top cornerback out there. So we need you to get out of you. It's like you in your head. It's like when you get these,
Ward is a
you get
victim of an overcomplicated defensive scheme because Ward is spying and cheating on every play and
right,
getting beat by a step. He's playing catch up on every single play.
right,
Do your job, stay in your lane. You're talented enough. And know that everybody else is going to do theirs. I'm
right.
gonna tell you somebody else that kind of got offset by doing the same thing. That's Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. The kid, the reason they got him was for his attitude and meanness. Have you seen anybody be with any kind of aggressiveness on that team other than, good gracious, Warner?
Well, look, I'm a piggyback off of that. To me, the players that I've seen from all the games that really have hustled and ran to the ball is Fred Warner,
Mhm.
Cleveland Farrell, and Dre Greenlaw. That's it.
That's it. The rest of them, you're not even calling their name.
Exactly.
And as bad as Oliver is in coverage, he is making inside tackles. He is getting to the ball.
And
I will give him that.
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah,
will
but
give him that.
outside of that, everybody else, no.
It's
Like I said, to me,
tepid. Very, very tepid.
yeah.
It's almost as if they read their own press clippings and believed them.
Mhm.
Or we can go back to the scheme has changed so much, they have no confidence in it. They don't know what to do.
Right.
How many times did we get seen looking at a third down play? Just standing there.
Yeah.
And how many times did the same receiver beat us 5, 6, 7 times in one game?
Mhm.
And nobody popped him off the line. Nobody doubled him. Nobody came over the top.
Mhm.
Now, that's the defensive coordinator job, ain't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you're down there in the trenches and your guys come up the field cussing and raising hell about the scheme because they get burned by it, guess what you do as a coordinator? You make adjustments. If you're in the box, you're thinking it should work by the numbers, but the numbers don't play the game. The players do.
I agree.
The players do.
I agree.
Now, about the cornerback, what I want to go back to that.
Mhm.
I talked to Prez yesterday,
Yeah.
and Prez has finally impressed upon me because I'm about the game, but Prez is about the numbers because sometimes, let's be honest with you, the numbers do tell a story next year and the year after that and the year after that and what you can do. If it's a win right now situation, it's one thing. But if you constantly play like you got to win right now and you trade that way and you sign that way, if it doesn't happen, you're landlocked. So we just couldn't throw good money after bad. And
Right.
I mean, like this Jalen Moore, had we gone on, we'd have had him for what, a half a season?
Yeah.
You know? And we're gonna be able to sign up. I forgot the guy that just came in from both the guy on the other side. My mind is shot. I've been so busy today.
Yeah.
Chance, we're gonna be able to sign Chance?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, they gave up a third round pick, but it's a compensatory pick, which means if he walked, they could get the pick back. But to me, if you're bringing him in,
You
he's
bring him in and sign him.
yeah, you gotta sign him. Okay, you got $40 million in cap space. You gotta slot money for him to be that guy. He's 24 years old, former defensive rookie of the year, just like Bosa, come from the same Ohio State. We know he
And
is.
they communicate.
Yeah, and to me, come on, you ain't bringing him just to help you win a championship. You helping, yeah. I mean, obviously you're bringing him in for that, but you're bringing him for the long term.
And you can mix and match
Oh,
pieces inside of those two bookends.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
strongly believe that's the case also. If I could change one thing about the next game,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have Mason in an I formation behind my quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, seriously, from the first play.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brought and then I'd swing out McCafferty, shift, put him in motion if I had to, RPO him to death, Mason up the middle, Mason off tackle, right side, left side. And guess what that'll do downfield? Ayuk will run wild.
Mm-hmm.
Kittle will run wild. McCaffrey will go down the sideline running wild. Mason will have 90 yards rushing. Purdy will throw 4 touchdowns. I'm telling you, it's really as simple as keeping the other team honest.
Yeah.
Look at the opposite side of that. The team offensive coordinators have been keeping us honest by running right down the middle, right or wrong.
Yeah, no. So it's Sunday.
You know, we had no answer.
You sure did.
And when we did stop it, it was an option. And they were throwing that money on the hook routes at the sticks. First down. First down. First down. Come on.
But to me, this is what that I'm
Excuse
noticing
me.
all of the games. It's like, okay, certain times when you play, to me, y'all play off coverage at the wrong time. Third
Yeah.
down should be pressing up. You won't play all you want. And I think Richard Sherman made this point. He was like, okay, on first and second down, y'all playing man, but you're getting burned. But then on third down, you won't play off and you're giving up the easy first down. Third down should be when you come with your man principles and
Yes.
that you block your pass rush, type of thing. First and second now, okay, go ahead and play your different zone coverages, whatever the case is, and then hope with your 4-man line you can get home. Now we didn't know that they didn't blitz more with the linebackers and stuff this year. To me, it's time for this defensive line to start winning these one-on-ones. Now I know they've been doing the twists and the stunts and all of that. That ain't working. Can we just get? I'm better than you. I whip you at the line of scrimmage because I'm better than you, and
Because
let
if your linebackers don't get in, your third down is a given.
exactly. And we
And they're
know
not
start,
getting in.
yeah, because like I said, if you blitzing Warner, if you blitzing Dre Greenlaw, and even if you come off the slot, you still giving up plays because then y'all, and that's what I'm saying. Y'all, when y'all do this, then y'all playing off coverage, but they still completing the pass, even though you coming with these blitzes because they got voids there because of where they coming from, because y'all playing the zone at the wrong time. It's like y'all, I mean, and it's the
They
thing.
could throw a basketball out there against that defense at that point,
It's like
which
to
is
me,
what they've been doing. Blooping,
right? Okay, and
catch and run.
you brought Steve Wilkes in because he was supposed to be the dude that had the knowledge of the secondary, but you shouldn't be getting torched if that's your specialty, though. You know what I'm saying?
Your specialty is you
Yeah,
haven't coached your defensive line, put them in position to have them win battles. The secondary thing is you're overusing your linebackers,
right.
and your secondary is exposed underneath. And if they're not exposed underneath, they cheat up because
Yeah.
they're tired of the third ground, and then they get beat long.
Hmm.
So we're basically being manipulated by our own scheme. We're
Yeah.
using the linebackers the wrong way.
Uh,
Our defensive line is not getting it done.
I
Chase
would agree
to
with that.
change that, and we can hold that linebacker in there to take away that third down. Let one of them. They're making too many tackles.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be your best tacklers, but still, every damn game, all day,
Yeah.
and
I would agree.
your cornerback and your secondary, they're getting beat underneath more than they're getting beat on the top. And when they get over the top, they're being beat spectacular.
Right.
We're giving them 6 because we're not holding on third down.
Hmm. Yeah. That's all what
We
was
can get
Sunday.
time of possession only because our offense is taking its time walking down the field.
Right. And they
But
have
time of
lost.
possession is not winning us games.
Yeah. No. And we've lost the time of possession the last 3 weeks. So
Yeah,
that helped. The defense been out there way more than they should be.
and
So,
deservedly so. To get them a third down, another
hmm,
set of downs.
yeah,
And the other teams have been keeping us in, missing field goals, not scoring in the red zone, and they're still beating us. Come on,
yeah,
man.
I know, I know.
Come on. We need to keep them honest.
Hmm.
We got to get our running game together. We got to put the right people doing the right things.
Hmm.
This is to me, this is more about coaching the last 3 weeks than anything. It's not a level of talent.
Yeah,
Although I will say on our defensive line, it's effort too.
yeah,
Also,
hmm,
you made that point earlier.
yeah,
We got to close. We got to
hmm,
get mad. We got to get in there and beat the 49ers and know that the guys behind us are going to do their job. This is about confidence more than anything, too.
yeah. I would agree with that.
And I don't think they have a lot of confidence in Wilkes. And I don't think our offensive team has enough confidence in our run game. I think that you put Mason out there, he gets. I mean, after the game he had 4 games ago, why he didn't touch the ball
Yeah,
on a consistent basis after that is beyond me.
hmm.
Is there a question about his blocking on the pass game?
But you don't have to use him that way. To me,
You're right.
to me, he's the you use him on first or second down. Not saying that you're gonna make yourself predictable because you're really not. because you can still run McCaffrey on third line if that's what you choose to do.
But the threat of Mason keeps them close. And if
ah,
McCaffrey gets a step, it's 20 yards.
mm-hmm,
If they cheat back from McCaffrey, Mason gets a head start, it's 20 yards.
right.
Either way, you kept that defensive line and those linebackers honest. We're not doing it now. We're playing predictable patterns.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, I think we pulled it off, bro.
Oh yeah, we did. So look, before we go,
Mhm.
let's go ahead and let's grade the offense. Let's grade the defense through the first 8 games, and let's look forward to let's look forward to the
The
second half of
defense, for me, through the first 8 games, including the 5 wins, has been a C plus at best.
I would agree with that.
Okay. The
Mhm.
offense is a B minus.
Okay.
I would grade them above the defense
Yeah.
only because the offense is affected by the lack of defense
Right.
and injury.
Mm-hmm.
Our defense has had some, but not to the degree where it would have affected this much.
Right.
That's my personal opinion.
Okay. Well, if I'm gonna give the defense a grade, I would say, I would say a C. I would say a C. I wouldn't even give them a C plus.
I gave him a
Um,
C minus.
yeah, I would say a C. Offensively, I would say a B. I think, and honestly, just coming to the season, I've never worried about the offense, even in the 3 games. I've always worried about the defense because to me the key has always been third down. Can you get off? If
We
we can
haven't.
get off, then with the offense we have, we should outscore people. And they haven't. And to me, that's gonna be the key going forward. You got Chase Young. If you simplify and thumb it down or whatever you want to call it, the key is going to be third down. Can we get off on third down? Because if we can get off on third down, Kyle going to scheme it up enough for us to score to win the game.
Let me tell you something that Chase Young does for us.
Mm-hmm.
He goes in there in his first game, gets a sack, and Bosa gets a sack,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else gets in there. Hufanga does blitzes and gets a sack, or they catch somebody in the backfield. The linebackers do.
Mm-hmm.
That fires them up. If they smash somebody in the mouth, it becomes infectious.
Yeah.
Right now, it's about back to basics. We ain't cute no more.
Right.
5-0 is fictional.
Mm-hmm.
0-3 is reality.
True.
And you balance the two of them together, you got choices to make. You want to play 49er football or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, we are not playing 49er football.
Yeah. Well.
We can. We have the talent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We definitely have the talent. Well.
I think that this is a big test for Wilks. And I think that the Raiders firing their coach, offensive coordinator, and their general manager is a wake-up call, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
They don't put the rest of the league on notice.
Yeah. Well, to me, like I said, this first game against Jacksonville is going to be their test.
Mm-hmm.
They worked on has whatever changes, adjustments they made is going to work, and it's going to be pressure on Wilks because there's no excuses. You got maybe the best defensive line in football, starting 4. I ain't counting. Okay, so can you unleash these boys? Because to me, this is how I look at it. Chase Young should unlock Hargrave and Armstead inside because we ain't been winning inside.
Nope.
It's time for Hargrave. We paid you the money. You an excellent football player, and you got 3 sacks, but we need these one-on-ones. And
we need to win them.
Chase Young should be able to win his one-on-one. Now you can't double up on Bosa, and inside where we really need to get the push and the pressure is where Armstead and Hargrave got to come to this party. If they start eating, then it's really gonna make this thing get going. So to me,
if they start eating, you can count on 1/3 of the third downs that get made against us being made. Exactly. And if that were the case in the last 3 games, we'd have won all 3.
I would agree with that.
We lost all those games on third down
I would agree with that.
and one stupid call.
Yes. Yeah.
And we won't visit that again. I guarantee he won't do that again.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the saddest thing I heard out
Uh-huh.
of the 3 games when Shanahan said, "I saw the play and I could have overruled it and I didn't." Come on,
But
man.
to the challenge flag.
Come on, man. No. I'm talking about the blitz with nobody over the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Come on, man. Don't say that to me.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to actually do it. If you
Yeah, have you
know,
ever seen him in all the years he's been coaching overrule a coordinator?
no, not really.
No, he
So,
hasn't.
oh,
The
but then,
players know that. He
yeah, but
knows that, and his coordinators know that.
then don't, just like you
You
said, but
don't
then
say it. And
because
then you have a pressure talking about, I'm gonna talk to Wilkes about coming down to the field. No,
yeah,
don't say that neither, man. Just tell him to get his ass out on the field.
exactly. Well,
You
like
know what
I
I'm saying?
say,
That way nobody has an expert. What happens if the next game starts and Wilkes is up in the booth? What does that say about your head coach?
well, that means you ain't said what you ain't followed through on what you said you was going to.
Now you just created an unfair expectation that you
Yeah.
didn't have to create. You basically questioned your coordinator too.
True.
And in trying to back him,
Yeah.
you're suggesting there's a need for a correction by coming out of the booth to the field.
Right.
If that had just been done and not spoken about, no
Mm-hmm.
expectations.
Right.
But once you put it in the atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
let's just say everybody understands me like, why ain't he down on the field?
Right.
Is that why we having problems? It becomes an uproar.
Right.
Just some thoughts. Well, damn, Pittsburgh trying to play a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we about to wrap this thing up.
All right, brother.
I think we gonna see them respond coming out in that game against Jacksonville, and
Mm-hmm.
gotta be that sense of urgency that they had starting off. But with the sense of urgency, it's got to be consistency as well. It can't just be y'all just flying around because you got the sense of urgency. It's about
Yeah,
executing the plays
we've
at the
already
right.
seen that in desperation time, us getting burned flying around.
Exactly. So yeah, we gotta we gotta lock in on this thing. They got an opportunity to win a championship if they can get this thing together and get this consistent play. Because we know, and like I said before you came on, we've seen them when they are at their best.
It's hard to beat them.
Hard to beat when we playing our best. And while the 5 games was great and they played some good football, they haven't played their best game yet. And it's time for that to be. And it's time for it to start happening on the second half. So with that said, Uncle Keith, we're gonna wrap this up for
We on the outside.
yes, sir. We're gonna represent, we're gonna bang bang till infinity. Even though it's been a little 3 weeks of not really feeling good watching these boys, we ain't going nowhere. We always gonna be here. So on behalf of being good, Press, Uncle Keith, this is P Warrior _9 signing off for the Faithful Boys. As Uncle Keith said, we outside. It's bang bang till infinity and beyond, and we looking to get number 6 if they get this together. So we out of here.
We
Peace.
out, brother. Pleasure to speak with you as always.
Yes, sir.